G'day everyone, it's Luke and Shady here, up for this week's podcast. Not the greatest start to our week, I wouldn't say, Shady, with an unfortunate loss in the Derby.
Probably hello everyone.
Yeah, sorry about that. I've screwed up the intro again, I think there. But
No, you did a great job, mate. I mean, I think we're all a bit down. We said that last week, right? We were like, either we're going to be bouncing off the wall or we're going to be a bit depressed.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, it's the that.
Yeah, so I guess we'll do the post-mortem of the Inter game first, and then we'll move on to the Red Star and Roma games. We've kind of put on our rose-tinted glasses again, and then move on to some Milan news. But we'll start with the tough one. You warned me a bit before we started, literally seconds before we started, that you'd go on a bit of a rant here. So I'll hand it over to you, Shady. The microphone's going across, and you can start the rant.
Yeah, I mean, nothing that hasn't been said in the past couple of days on Milan Twitter or anywhere else. But personally, and I think during the game, we tweeted that, I tweeted that from the club's account. I felt the first half was, well, as the first half went on, I thought that we started to like really grow into the game, and I thought we started to look really dangerous. And Inter were really shaky at the back end of the first half. We didn't create anything too strong. We had a few near misses, a few things in the end of the first half. A couple of times where perhaps Can could have shot, and then the one where he chose to pass to Rebic, and Rebic didn't make the run. But I felt like we were getting into the game, and in the second half we started off really well, obviously, and Ivanovic pulled off that string of like really good saves. And after that second goal, our heads dropped almost, and after that, you saw our changes. It was almost like we conceded defeat. We brought on Meta, we brought on Castellero. It was just like, okay, you can have this game now. I would have liked to see. In retrospect, always easier to talk in hindsight, but in retrospect, I would have liked to see Leao on at the start of the second half, perhaps for Salamakers. I suggested that we just go all out. We had nothing to lose. As we always say, it was arguably our biggest game of the season. So we should have really gone for it. We had a few analyzing the team's performance. I think Tonali did really well. Actually, I was surprised he was pulled up. I get why he pulled him off, because he felt that we were lacking a bit of aggression in the center of the park. But Tonali was actually doing. He could have kept Kessie back a bit more. And Tonali was actually doing well, and his chance aside, his shot aside, which was good. But he was looking a lot more like the Tonali we thought we'd get in the summer. So he's definitely, he just needs time with this team, because he's starting to show glimpses of what he's capable of. I thought Rebic was a bit disappointing in the second half. In the first half, he looked like he was capable of coming up with something at some point. But disappointing overall. Ibra, unfortunately, was not him. I mean, he tried, he huffed and he puffed, but he obviously wasn't ideal. I don't know. What do you think? I've got a few other things I want to talk about, but I want to hear from you as well. So,
yeah.
What was your take?
I'll start off with the first half. I was really disappointed to see that first probably 20 minutes where it was Inter versus like a Serie B team. It was like I don't know, like we didn't rock up at all. Which, when you consider the lead up to the game, the significance of the game in our season, that was really disappointing for me. Especially when you have players come out during the week, Frank Kessie, and there were probably a few others, saying, we're really confident, we're going to smash them, we're going to win, blah, 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 blah. Saying all this stuff, you can't then get to the game and leave your boots in the locker room. And as soon as that first goal went in, you know, it kind of just felt like, well, you know, we're one down here. Are we going to get one back? Maybe, maybe not. They might even get a few. We've probably lost it here. The good thing was that eventually we did get the boots out of the locker room, and that second half, as you said, of the first half was better, and it was kind of more in line with the Milan that we've seen this season, where we were pushing it. But yeah, I think if we just had it rocked up, we saw literally, I think, our first attempt at goal. The Inter Milan defense fell apart. Like, they had no idea what was going on. They were all confused, all tripping over each other. If we just had kind of pressed it to them and brought it to them a bit earlier, I felt like we could have maybe got one on them early, which we spoke about. We spoke about in the last podcast that Inter is a team that you can do things like that. So that was disappointing to see. I think the second half we came out kind of sort of not all guns blazing, but that first few minutes, those 3 Handanovic saves, I don't know how he did that, but yeah, probably one should have gone in, but that's the way of the game sometimes. And then, yeah, the second goal was, they were all disappointing. Romagnoli, I think, was at fault of that one where he was cut off on the left. I think, yeah, he's got a bit to improve on, especially as your captain. You want to see a captain not falling short in those moments. I think his pace is becoming a bit of a concern. He just always seems like he's easy to maneuver around. So, yeah, that's my read on the game.
Yeah. No, I agree with quite a few of the things you said. Going back to the pace issue, I mean, we've been saying there's been that gif or whatever of like Romagnoli saying, "Oh, he's so fast," talking about Lukaku. But true, that's nobody's. I mean, we're not just discovering this now. We knew that all along. You should have. I mean, especially, I agree with you. Like, even from the first goal when Lukaku was running and Romagnoli was chasing, and the second, as you were saying. But for me, like the big one, I mean, that I could really point to Romagnoli on was the third one when he just kept backing and left Lukaku to I mean, basically gave him. He tried to close the angle a bit, but basically left Lukaku to get the ball on his left foot, and he just drew back. You don't do that as a defender. You go and meet the player. I mean, you can choose when you actually decide to attack, but you don't go back all the way into like just inside your area, and you definitely don't leave an angle like that on his good foot. You try and get him onto his right foot, his weaker foot. In Lukaku's case, his right foot. And he's not that good with it. So that's what I would have expected. I would expect Romagnoli to close down. I mean, every man and his dog, anybody who's ever defended knows this. You'd go down, close the stronger foot, so he'd be forced to move in the other direction. And maybe he could have done something then, but odds are it wouldn't have been as prolific or as good a shot, as good of an angle, as it was on his left. So that's just like basics. That would, for me, all the other ones we can talk about, all the other goals, but that for me was like, bloody hell. It was like, seriously. So yeah, I'm not usually one to go too hard on one player. As much as possible, I do, give Samu some stick. I'll be, if I'm owning, I have to own up to that. I admit, but I mean, I've been seeing like people like massacring Romagnoli and all that. But no, let's not forget that he's been a great player for us. Yes, he's had issues, of course. I'm not disagreeing, and and he was at fault 100% for that third goal, especially. But at this stage in the season, I don't think we should be massacring our players. We should be criticizing them definitely constructively. And there are some things as well, like off the pitch, like the Ibra San Remo thing. Why does he have to go to a music festival for 5 days, even if it's like an international break? In this kind of season, when we're actually, at the very bare minimum going for a Champions League spot, and when the wheels are falling, seems to be the wheels are falling off. I hope they're not, but at least we're having a very bad 2 months. This is not the time for you to go off to.
It doesn't make
regardless
sense
of what the reason is. Yeah.
It doesn't.
You
make
should not
sense.
be doing that if you're not.
I've noted it down that we can go through that a bit later because it really doesn't make sense, and particularly with this loss, it really doesn't look good.
You should really be like, you know, with any of the other players that aren't on international duty or don't have anything. I mean, you should really be leading that. You should, you know, bring the team together. That doesn't make sense to me. Just going back to the match quickly, I don't want to bore anyone with like dwelling on it too long. But there are a few other things that just came to mind for me. If I don't know if quite a few people noticed this, but what was really striking for me was Inter had this strategy where they depended on our really high press. So if you see any goal kick they had, any basically start of play from their third of the pitch, what they do is wait to suck you in, basically get all your players in, like a very, very high press from like their area, and then they get you on the counter. And I saw this like time after time after time in the first and second halves. I was just wondering, why is Pioli not telling these guys to back down a little bit so they can't do this, so they can attack? Okay, they'll struggle a bit more with their build-up play into if we just back down a bit. There was this very high press. We were pressing, and as soon as the ball got past the midfield, and that was it. They were like running through on goal. If there were quite a few of these, 5 or 6 at least. If they'd done better, actually, if Inter had done better with their passing, we would have lost. It wouldn't have been a much heavier scoreline. So I'm surprised. I mean, I get that if it happened in the first half, but as a coach, you're seeing this, and why aren't you bringing your team back a bit? Or as the team captain, I mean, Romagnoli, for example, why isn't he talking to Pioli about this? Or why isn't I? Because I mean, you know, there's only so many times you can be tricked into this before realizing that, okay, they're really putting a number on us. Yeah. So that was for me. That went on well into the second half, and we saw these counter attacks as well because we started to attack. So it was just like, huh?
Yeah. And it kind of felt like, I think we've said it before, that a key element of our success this season in games has been Kessie dominating and using that physical side in the midfield. But I kind of felt like they were just bypassing him, that process, and you could see he was frustrated because he couldn't get into the game. They kind of just took him out, and then it skipped that process, and it would get it to, you know, Lukaku or Lautaro or Hakimi would run through on the side, and our defense didn't really have an answer for those players. So by the time it skipped past our midfield, we were in real strife, and it just felt like we were on the back foot, scrambling around, trying to stop these really prolific strikers that, you know, if you give them half a chance, they're going to make something of it.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, I agree with you 100%. I think, in all fairness, Theo was okay. I was actually very remember before the game about Jimmy cutting back behind Theo, but he did really well in that aspect. In other aspects, I mean, overall, our defensive unit as a whole, like we said. But yeah, I agree with you. I think that must, I mean, I'm guessing that was what was on Pioli's mind when he decided to bring on Meta, was because basically we were outnumbered in midfield to an extent. So he wanted to, you know, shore things up a bit. But I don't know. I just think Tonali did really well. He could have been shifted, perhaps some more attacking role on the right. So I don't know. Or for Rebic. Well, we'll never know. We'll have these what ifs for until the next Derby.
The last one I'd comment on was, like, you saw that when we were pushing, I guess probably Çalhanoğlu was the one, like, when his creative side switched on and we started to direct things through him for then him to distribute through to Rebic or Ibra or whoever, it completely changed our game. And I guess, well, this whole season has kind of been the golden age of his career, but or with us at least. But for me, I came out of it really, I don't know, you need to use him. Otherwise, particularly our wings, I don't know, they haven't been the strongest of late, have they?
Yeah. I was watching the game and I was thinking in the first half, I was like, oh man, we should have just broken the bank and gotten Chiesa on the right wing in the summer. I was thinking that in the first half. And that's why I was saying we should just bring on Leao, because I thought at least he'd a bit of pace, a bit of craft on the right wing. But yeah, I agree with you. Our wingers have not been definitely for the derby at the very least. They were not up for it.
Yeah. Well, anyway, as always, we move on to the next game.
Yeah.
And our next game is a Europa League clash against Red Star again. Obviously, the draw. I mean, it was a draw, but it kind of felt more like a loss in the manner.
Yeah, so late.
Was it a 93rd minute Red Star?
Something like that. 93rd, 95th. Yeah, it was very late. It was very late. It was too late. I shouldn't have. Yeah.
Late.
Yeah.
I mean, this one's at home. I mean, it's good that we got those 2 away goals. So we've got that slight advantage. So let's just see the team get it done. They need to carry that. For going back to the Inter game, there actually was a period where we did play somewhat well, and they need to just extend that to a full 90 minutes. So then we can kind of propel ourselves off this Red Star game into Roma. We know Red Star from that last game and historically what they're doing this season and before that, the Red Star's not an easy team. They're a big challenge for us, but we really need to prove ourselves here. And really, I don't think that there's been a more defining part of the season than right now where we are.
Yeah, definitely. And with an Interista as a coach, with Stankovic as their coach as well, the former Inter player, it doesn't help, does it? Yeah, we need a reaction, obviously. We need to get through. And yeah, it's a tournament we could do well in, definitely. I would still prioritize Serie A, but definitely I would definitely, yeah, we need to get through. We need to go through to the next round. Go as far as we can, really. If we can win it, we win it, we get it's automatic qualification for the Champions League. So it's a win-win in that aspect. But we regardless of how far we go in the Europa League, we need to turn this slump around, and that can only start by beating Red Star, qualifying basically and building on that.
Yeah. We saw Pioli put in Benacer last game and obviously he's slightly injured. What do you think the midfield combo should be for Red Star?
Tonali Kes.
Yeah, I think continue with Tonali. He's growing each game, so yeah, continue it.
He needs game time, and yeah, he's good. He's young. He's got potential,
and
he showed it again. I think he wasn't a world beater, but he showed glimpses of like brilliance against Inter, and he wasn't afraid to go forward and to do. You know, he had some really interesting 1-2, some really good build-up play. He had ideas. I like that. He's got solutions. Once you give him a bit, once he has, I think, the confidence to play, it's a big step up from. Let's not forget that it's a huge step up from Brescia to the club of your childhood club, like you know, the club you supported, and a club of Milan stature. It's a big step up. So, regardless of what he or anyone may say, it surely takes a toll on your confidence. It's not the same way you play with Brescia. So, I think he just needs a bit more time, and he's starting to show what we saw regularly with Brescia and he plays for the national team. So obviously, it's not us just with our Milan, our biased Milan Milan tinted spectacles to quote you. Yeah. So he's good. He needs time. Benacer is amazing, obviously, and probably at this stage he's better. But Tonali needs game time.
Yeah, I did get the feel that after when you compare the Spezia loss to the Inter loss, after the Spezia loss, I was thinking, this is a really, really bad moment. There's not a single positive coming out of that game. Coming out of this Inter game, I feel like I'm actually slightly more confident because we did see some good things, good patches. And I think particularly with I would say injury crisis that we've kind of gone through, we haven't had a fluid run of like a first starting 11. Kier, Tonali, the list goes on and on. everyone's been in and out, and I got the feel that if you just give some of these players a bit of time, a few games together again, and just give them that confidence back playing with each other, hopefully no more injuries, things will start to turn.
I hope so.
Yeah.
I hope.
Yeah, because
Definitely.
nothing's actually changed. It's the same team. If anything, it should be better because we've got a few top ups. So I'm not at the stage where it's, you know, massive crisis, wheels completely fallen off. I'm still very optimistic.
We're 4 points behind Inter. If they lose 2 games, we're top of the table.
Exactly.
All we need to do is to start winning our games.
Yeah.
It's as easy as that. No, it's not. We're not in crisis mode. We're not.
No, not
we're
yet.
not. But we need to step it up. No, I still would not use, you know, the word. I mean, no, I would not use the word crisis at this stage. Very disappointing run these 2 months, but we're still in it. We're still in it, and we just need to start winning, racking up those wins, because we've got a lot of people chasing us for the Champions League spots. Let's guarantee that Champions League spot, and see how we go come April, come end of March or April. Let's see where we stand in the league. You never know. You never know. Inter will bottle a few games. We know that, but we need to win ours before we can talk about that.
Yeah.
It's that simple.
Well, looking at the table, obviously Inter are first. We're 4 points behind them now. We're 4 in front of Juve. They have the game in hand. So that could be 1 or still 4. And then 5 points behind us is Roma. And then 6 is Lazio and Atalanta. So, I mean, this Roma game is important because they're our immediate rivals for Champions League qualification, and it will make a big difference. Definitely a big difference. They had not a great start to the season, and they're starting to they've been finding form as the season's been going. You know, Mkhitaryan's had a very good season. They're coming on. So we just need to fight. We're in kind of, I know I said it's not a crisis, but we're sort of in the fight of our lives, trying to stay in that group and lead them if we can.
Yeah, true. Yeah, we need to. It's I'd rather be playing Roma than Atalanta, for example, at this stage, or even Lazio. I think Lazio would have been a trickier fixture.
Yeah.
No disrespect to Roma, great team, but they're not consistent. I mean, Lazio, for example, started off really poorly. Atalanta started off poorly, but then you can see that they're consistent after that. They start to rack up these big results. Roma have been, again, I agree with you, they've definitely improved, but they can still be a bit hit and miss. They're inconsistent. They had that pick up against Benevento. So I mean, if there was one team out of the chasing pack to be playing right now, I think it would probably be them, with all respect to them, obviously. But I think it's a winnable game, and we should win it. We should really play our game, and we should be hopefully coming off like the confidence booster of going through against Red Star. I think this is a game that we should be able to win. They have some dangerous players, but squad for squad, I mean, player for player, we're definitely superior.
Yeah, I agree. And yeah, as we've been saying, there's not much we can say that other than these next 2 games, we just need to win. We need to find a way, because as soon as we get into that winning routine, this team will lift and we'll get back into that groove.
Of course, yeah. It's just a matter of getting like that, having that, breakthrough in a sense.
Yeah.
Getting 2-3 good results in a row. Good. This is the same team that beat everyone in the division, went on this amazing streak. So these are the same players, same coach, same everything. Absolutely nothing has changed. Exactly. So they can do this.
Exactly. Well, I guess moving on from our game previews into the news part of the podcast. And it kind of links into what we've just been saying. Pioli he said after the match, he was asked whether he would consider changing the formation. We've seen, lots of success from the 4-2-3-1 this season. But he said that he would consider it to a 4-3-3 or a 4-2-2 are the rumours. What do you think about that?
I'm not sure how good an idea it would be to overhaul your tactical setup mid-season like this without like even so much as an international break or some kind of couple of weeks to give it a go in training and like give it a friendly match or two. I don't know if the squad's been training for that, like in friendly matches. If they've tried that, maybe they have, in which case it would be fine. If not, I'm not sure if it would be a good idea to do so. But I guess if you put yourself in Pioli's shoes, I mean, the flip side of that argument would be that if you see that everything you've been doing has been, people can read or see straight through it and they're stopping you, you need to innovate a bit. You need to get a bit innovative. So I guess that's the flip side of it. I don't know. I don't see the players in training enough to be, I'm not, obviously not the coach to be able to say that this would work or not. But just like my gut feeling is, if you haven't been trying it in training, and so far I would not overhaul things like wouldn't shake it up that much. My gut feel. What about you?
Yeah, I was trying to think how it would work. As I said, I like that Çalhanoğlu's kind of that centerpiece that we kind of go through. Otherwise, it's Calabria or Teo coming in from the sides, or whoever's Leao or Salamakers or Rebic or whoever. So yeah, also who would play with, if it was a 4-4-2, who would play side by side with Ibra? Whether you start playing Mandzukic or I don't know, maybe that's what he's thinking, that maybe he can put Mandzukic in and it'll fit with Mandzukic a bit better. Because Mandzukic, correct me if I'm wrong, they used to play two up the front at Juve when it was very successful with him. Is that right?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. When it was
I wouldn't think that would be the reason. I don't think you'd change the entire formation just to get Mandzukic.
I don't think so, no.
No, but it could be one of the contributing factors. Yeah, I'm not sure. I wouldn't mind seeing Pioli making a call like that and making, kind of rolling the dice, because it is a crucial part of the season. But I do like the 4-2-3-1. It has worked. It's a proven success.
Yeah, I'll probably not do it for the Roma game. I'll probably do it after that. If so, against relatively weaker opposition. So you'd have a bit more leeway, a bit more freedom, just a bit to try something new. But we'll see. We'll see how we go.
Other news straight out of Milan, hot off the press, if you want to say that. 2 transfer rumors. You might have some more using your contacts as well, Shady. And correct me if I'm wrong, Taylan Antalyali from Galatasaray, who's a midfielder, 26 years old, pretty good form at the moment, who could come in for Miete, who it's looking like we're not going to extend his loan or buy.
Okay.
Is that right?
I haven't heard that one. That's news to me. That's
it's my contacts, Shady. Yeah, it's my contacts.
Quite the network you've built there, mate.
Oh yeah, it's an empire, not just a network.
yeah. Sorry.
And the other one is Jonathan Ikone from Lille, who's a forward. So it's rumored they want 30 million euro. He's 22 years old. Apparently, it's us and Inter who are interested in him.
They're top of the league.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, they're having a smashing season. It's leading the way there.
Yeah.
Them and Lyon at the top. Be an interesting season there. Yeah, PSG aren't running away with it.
No.
Yeah.
Other than that, the only news, and we've already spoken a bit about it, was the Ibrahimovic San Remo. before we can talk a little bit more about that, but is there anything else you want to mention, Shady?
Not really. Are we going to do predictions?
Oh, predictions. Yeah. Sorry, we'll skip straight.
You go first.
Lucky,
Give you the chance. Yeah.
lucky you remembered. I'll say Red Star. I want to say a 2-0 win.
Nice.
And
I'll go 2-1.
2-1. Okay. I want to see 2 clean sheets.
That would be the dream.
Yeah, that's my dream. I'm sure all of the starting 11 Milan players watch this, so we're looking for clean sheets. Kier, Romagnoli, Donnarumma. That's what you got to do.
We won't tell you again. There'll be trouble. There'll be trouble this time next week if it doesn't happen.
It's your first warning. Well, you'll see both Shady and I on a flight to Milan.
You've been warned.
Yeah. For the Rome match, I'll say, you know what? I'm going to stick 2-0. 2-0 wins. Stick to it. What about you? Okay.
I'll up the ante for the Roma game. I'll say so 2-1 for the Red Star, 3-1 for the Roma. Yeah.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah.
Do we want to talk about the Zlatan San Remo thing again, or?
I just think it's ridiculous. I don't know. I mean, I'm not sure. Maybe through your empire, you know exactly why he's going to be there, but I'm sure it's going to be some kind of promotional or marketing stint. I just think it's ridiculous. This season, this time in the season, I do not think it's a good idea.
And he's had, there was the Lukaku thing and now this, and he hasn't had, it's been a little, he's kind of had 2 or 3 games. When was the last time he scored? He hasn't had the best few games. He tried in the Inter game, but yeah. I mean, as a leader of the squad, it's not what you want to see, particularly that it's later on in the season and that we could be really fighting for that Champions League or Scudetto spot. So yeah, it's disappointing. I don't think anyone understands why that's necessary. We know that he's good friends with Dimitar Mihajlovic, and we all know that he's a good guy, but it's bizarre.
Yeah. But yeah, exactly. Just hold off anything like that until the end of the season. Just skip this festival and go to anything else in the summer.
And it's interesting the difference between Inter and us, that Conte just kind of laughed it off and said, "No way, we do the singing on the pitch." Whereas with us, with Zlatan, it's kind of like, does Purely even get a say there? Because he's such a big figure at the club.
I don't think so. He's such a larger-than-life character. I don't think anyone was able to say anything.
No. Anyway, hey, the last thing I want to say is, we haven't seen that shirt before, Shady, and seeing as you're kind of maybe we've seen it once before. Seeing as you're kind of the expert, our resident shirt expert, Milan shirt expert, can you tell us a bit about it?
No, it's last season's 3rd kit, so nothing from too far back.
Lots of good memories in that one.
Yeah, definitely. I think Ibrahimovic's first. First goals, I think, against Cagliari.
Isn't that?
Yeah.
There you go. I was kind of joking there, but you're right. So
I was dead serious. Yeah. So I think, didn't he come back for the Sampdoria game at home, which was then he scored a brace against Cagliari, wasn't that? Yeah, I think so. Yeah. The game after that. Yeah. So no, I mean, towards the tail end of last season, at least we had a really good run. So
yeah, nice.
But I like it. It's a nice one.
Yeah, I do sometimes like the 3rd kits are sometimes nice to have. They're different.
Yeah, we've had some interesting ones over the years. Like we had some yellow ones. We had the gold one back in the 90s. I mean, we had the gold one in 2013. Then we had another yellow one back in the 90s. So we've had some interesting. We had the one with the pocket, the 3rd one with the pocket.
Yeah,
that was a funny one. So our 3rd kits can be interesting.
Yeah, it was really good to see. A few months ago we did the shirts out competition. You started it actually, Shady, and it was really awesome to see what some of our members, the collection that they had. I think your one kind of stood out. Who else? There were a few.
We had,
Yeah,
Stefan had a massive collection. I think we had a
Stefan's the
few
one I was
people
thinking of.
really well who had like, he's like, wow, yeah.
I think
We had a few.
Stefan's son already has a better collection than me, unfortunately.
Yeah. Now we got some, and I think there was some guys from New York as well, from Milan Club New York, who had some really good collections as well. Yeah. So really good to see. Really good to see people keeping their faith.
Well, anyway, we've kind of gone on for a bit today, but there was lots to talk on.
Yeah. We needed to run.
If you're listening or watching wherever you get onto us, make sure you like, follow, subscribe, do all of that. And yeah, that's all I've got for today, Shady.
Yeah, good stuff, mate. Good talk. Not a good result on the pitch, but good talk, definitely. Always good to talk.
Yeah, exactly. Well, as always, Forza Milan, and see you next week.
Forza Milan. See you, man.